Hello YouTube, this is Chris from External Services. Today's video is going to be more proof of the biblical flat earth from a very well-known big company commercial I saw last night. So uh, sorry I haven't made a video in a few weeks, but my voice has been going in and out, been under the weather, a lot of stuff going on. Um, I don't know if you could tell my voice is still kind of out right now, but it's doing a lot better. Just got back from my mother-in-law's Monday from helping her with her medical issues. But yeah, so and I'm so far behind on videos, it's not even funny. Like I got videos from a couple years ago that I've still got to get made. Every time I turn around, it's something. Um, Even new topics are new videos like this one. I wasn't even planning on making this one till last night. I was sitting here watching YouTube videos and an ad came on. Um, and I keep saying like I feel like Neo from the Matrix. Like once you take that red pill, like, and you start going down those rabbit holes and you start seeing the truth for what it is, you analyze everything. Like no joke, you analyze everything and you see things quickly before anybody else does usually. And that I'm not tooting my own horn. It's God showing this stuff to me. Um, God's Holy Spirit, which is another video I got to get made. One of my YouTube subscribers asked me not long ago if I would make a video about the Holy Spirit living in us, and I'm gonna get that up. You know, so anyway, let's get moved on to this. This is a community post I posted not long ago. It says, if you don't think people are under mind control, just look at how they treat anyone who thinks freely and questions the official narrative, like NASA. That's the official narrative uh, of hiding the biblical flat earth and proving the Bible wrong, and are trying to anyway, and trying to prove there is no God and that Jesus isn't real, his son, and so on. Uh, like just got a comment not long ago actually on a video or a comment that I left on somebody else's video that had pretty much recorded the biblical flat earth. They didn't use fisheye lenses or anything else like that. And the person responded to me. I don't know who this person is, never seen their channel before or anything. Um, that I debunked the Bible. A good job, because I was talking about the biblical flat earth. Like I've said, multiple videos, I keep seeing, atheists become believers when they realize that the earth isn't what NASA says, and the sun, moon, and stars are here on Earth's sky, and it's a biblical flat earth. They become Bible believers and believing in God and Jesus and the Bible. And people that believe in NASA's model, they they either have real weak faith, and don't take that as me, hating on you, because I know I was there myself. You think you have strong faith, but you don't. Um, or even if you realize that your faith isn't that strong. Uh, once I became a biblical flat earther, the Bible made a lot more sense to me. And it just strengthened my faith in God, his son Jesus, and the Bible. Um, or if you believe in NASA's model, you get people that are um, not believers at all. And back to the weak faith, I got friends and family of mine that constantly go back and forth like a ship in the wind when it comes to the Bible and God and Jesus and the biblical flat earth and stuff like that. And I'm not going to mention any names, but the Bible warns about that. People with weak faith will go back and forth like teetering like a ship on the ocean, um, the wind blowing it to and fro, and they can't control it. And that's sadly what happens when you have weak faith, is that the devil has you, look over here, look over there, look over here, don't look here, don't look there. And he's the father of lies. He's very convincing. Trust me, I know. Been down that path myself. So you probably already saw this tab right here. Um, I had to specifically look this video up because, like I said, it was an ad. Um, that Jeep, very well known, very high up there company. People know who Jeep is. This is their official channel. Nobody points this out in the comments. I looked at what I'm going to point out to you today. Now, I've made tons of videos in the past, channels that aren't even flat earthers. They'll set up a camera and, uh, showing the sun going like it's going out, going down. And then he goes, nope, and flips back around and comes back the other direction to the camera, which is what the Bible says. The sun, moon, and stars are on a circuit. They go around uh, the earth. They're under the dome and they go around the earth. That's another video I got coming up. The way the sun and moon have been acting really weird lately. Um, but try to keep this short and sweet because I got a lot of stuff to do today, and I'm going to try to go donate plasma. Before, I mean, they always have some excuse why I can't donate. Usually, it's my hematocrit. They say it's too high. Um, that was a little bit that did help, but they've dropped the price down now. How much they give you? So it's. I mean, it helps, but you got your time and gas and fuel, or gas is fuel. Um, Wear and tear on the vehicle is what I mean of getting there and back. So I mean, yeah, but you got to do what you got to do. So let's go ahead and move on with this here. Now I've got it muted because there's music playing and I don't want to get hit with copyright. But check this out, guys. This is something else that I've shown in videos too of the sun or the moon being recorded in Earth sky with the clouds around it and behind it, just like this here. That's the sun. And sometimes I think they intentionally do it to show the truth because they think they're being sportsmen and they don't think they're going to be held accountable because they're showing us the truth and we just refuse to see it because of all the lies they've told. And that's what they got wrong, is that because they continue telling the lies outweigh them showing the truth. Because the minute somebody like me points this out, they come at us and they say we're wrong and we're liars, tinfoil hat wearers, so on and so on. Um, but you clearly see there's the sun. This is impossible on NASA's model. You got the clouds around it, and then you also got clouds behind it. Look how cloudy that is. So if the sun was coming through like NASA says, you would never get this image. You can never get this image. And I know I'm going to get people that are so hopelessly brainwashed. Um, they refuse to take that red pill. They refuse to see the truth because then they have to be accountable for their actions. They have to believe the Bible is the word of God. They have to try to live the Bible as much as they can. They have to believe in God. They have to believe in Jesus, his son. They have to change. And, and this is one reason why they get us when we're children. They start brainwashing us in schools, which learn their stuff like this from where? NASA. They learn science and earth science from things like NASA. And, I mean, like I said, you just can't get this anywhere else. I'm gonna get people in the comments are gonna say, oh, they just put that on there, because it's a commercial, it's not real. They put that they made that up to fit the commercial or some stupid nonsense like that. Um, but that's not true. I get these in different commercials, movies, TV shows, video games. Again, I know you guys are going to say, oh, some of you are going to say, oh, it's just fake. They did that on purpose. And that's not what they didn't really catch the sun being in the clouds and they didn't really catch the moon being in the clouds. Um, but that's you not wanting to see the truth. This is very clearly the sun being surrounded with clouds. I mean, you can clearly see it. Look, there's clouds right there behind it. Right there. I don't know if you can see it or not, but if you're on a cell phone, you may be hard to see it because of a smaller screen, but you can clearly see the clouds right there behind it. You can see the clouds now over the top of it and in front of it on the sides. You couldn't get that on NASA's model. That is absolutely impossible. And I've even shown you videos that were recorded by NASA where they caught something similar, or they caught the sun just clearly going through the sky. No clouds around it, no nothing. You can clearly see it's not a light shining in through the cloud or the sky, through Earth's sky. It's physically in the sky. Uh, yeah. So I will link this in the description box below. Go watch it in its entirety if you choose to. Um, but yeah. So let's go on and move on to uh, this here. Uh, This is Jim Carrey. Obviously, most people know who he is. This was 5 years ago. I still got to check more of these guys' channel out. Um, I've known about this for quite a while. Um, there's other things, and it's shown in this video where he's doing what he's calling the all mocking tongue, and he's people take it as a joke, and well, they don't see the truth. But in this particular part of the video, he talks about the moon landing being fake. And that drives me absolutely in bonkers, insane. That I know people personally um, that are right there believing in the biblical flat Earth, and like I've had them literally tell me they see what I'm saying and they believe it, and they it's the truth, and then they'll go back to the other way and believing NASA's model. That drives me bonkers too. But it drives me bonkers that people will believe that the moon landing never happened, that NASA's lying, and they will die on that hill that NASA's lying about the moon landing. But they will believe everything else NASA says. I was always raised and taught, my grandma taught me that uh once you're known as a liar, you're always going to be known as a liar. It is hard for anybody to trust you. If you by some chance miracle of God get that trust back, it will never be the same, because you were always known, you're known as a liar now. She always taught me that um that if you tell the truth, you don't ever have to remember anything. And if you notice, places like NASA, things like NASA, they say one thing and then they say a complete another. And then when too many people like me are calling them out on their crud, they'll change their story to something completely different. Like I was always taught as an example, and then we'll move on because I'm trying to keep this short, is there's not any oxygen in space. Period. No oxygen. But now all of a sudden there's oxygen in space. Very little, according to them, but still oxygen in space. I was always taught growing up that gravity pushed everything to the ground. This was a well-known theory. Um, this is why channels like mine have always talked about how it doesn't make any sense that gravity's pushing everything to the ground, but certain things aren't affected. Um, what's holding this gravity, the gravity, so-called gravity theory that's holding the house down that I'm in isn't crushing me. That's why we've always made those statements, because that's what we were taught by the schools, by NASA. But now it's changed to everything and gravity pulls everything to the ground and to the center, which still is the same thing. It wouldn't make any sense. It would still have the same outcome as if it was pushing or pulling, which if anybody knows basic physics, it's the same. Like if the gravity's pulling, so-called gravity's pulling everything to the ground and it's pulling my house down to hold it down, that same force pulling me down would be pulling me down and would crush me to the ground. So it's still the same outcome. They just changed the wording. So it makes people like me look stupid. But that's what they're going for anyway. There's just so many examples. And then you got the Mandela effect changing things. And then you got, the elite scrubbing things. And so it's all to make people like me look stupid, so that people that are right there close to seeing the truth shy away from it, because then it looks false, it looks fake, it looks made up, it looks like a lie. And so people turn back to going back the other direction of what they once believed. And it's getting harder and harder for channels like mine and people like me, actual, real, biblical, truth seeking Christians, to find the truth and put it out there because of all these things. But listen to what Jim Carrey says here.
How that would affect your Christmas?
I made that whole thing up.
What?
I'm sorry. I guess I just wanted to seem interesting. I guess there's a real danger of that on this show.
There's a pressure.
Well, yeah, people come out and they've run.
You know, before we go any further, you know, you got like Shaq and different people that are coming out and talking about the earth is flat. And then all of a sudden, that's another video I got coming up. And then some stick to their guns, but other ones, like Shaq, recanted his thing, but he kind of didn't. And then he admitted that they were going to take his doctorate away, I believe is what they said. And, you know, that's what the talk show host said, and he agreed with it. You know, that because he was going down that path of a biblical flat earth, that they were going to pretty much crush him. So anyway, let's move on.
Run out of anecdotes, you know, and they just start making stuff up.
Yeah.
Like that Neil Armstrong guy. Have you seen him on the talk shows?
Neil Armstrong, you mean the first man to walk on the moon?
Talk about a fish story.
Yeah.
Man, and they're buying it.
Oh, yeah.
Dumb and Dumber 2 opens tomorrow. Please say hello to Jim Carrey.
This is the part where he's doing the all-mocking tongue instead of the all-knowing eye. Don't want to get hit with copyright. Playing too much of their theme song. And what I find funny at the end is that he does it back to him. If it was just a joke, he wouldn't be doing it back to him while Jim Carrey's doing it. Listen and watch.
Is that a gang sign? Have you,
Oh, like you don't know what it is. You don't know what that is.
I have no idea.
You don't know. Jimmy Fallon doesn't know. David Letterman doesn't know.
We don't know.
All the comics and show business don't know what this is. Right? Yeah.
What is it?
Come on, Jimmy. Seriously. The time.
And he says he's being a whistleblower, and I honestly believe this is his comedic quote unquote way of saying the truth, because he's trying not to get in too much trouble and get the star whackers coming after him and stuff. But this is why you don't see Jim Carrey very much anymore, because he's started being very vocal about these things. That's why Prince got whacked, because he was on a talk show one time talking about being at a party and somebody admitted chemtrails to him, and he started looking it up and saw that it was true. And then shortly after that, he got unalived. He got Merle Haggard. If you're into country music, you know who he is. Even if you don't, you probably know who he is. He did a song called "What I Hate." Was one of the songs that he talked about the truth. I mean, as far as like government conspiracies and cover-ups and stuff. And one of the things that he talks about in that song is chemtrails. And shortly after that, he came to Kern County, Bakersfield, where I live. And because that's where he was born and raised. Or this is where he was born and raised. And his plane mysteriously crashed shortly after that song got released. Think about that, guys. You get all these different actors and singers and uh, so on and so on, all these Hollywood elites, and they start coming out being whistleblowers speaking about the truth, and all of a sudden they either get crushed and you never hear from them again as far as like in movies and TV shows and so on, or any new songs or albums, or they retire when up to a certain point, before they so-called retire, they talked about not retiring for another, say, 10 years as an example, but then all of a sudden they're retiring. Um, or they come up, missing, or they come up dead and alive for no reason. And sometimes it's just blood sacrifice by the elite. I'll give you an example and then we'll move on. Robin Williams was a blood sacrifice. There's just so much you could touch about this, but he had talked about multiple times in different interviews about not offing yourself, and that it was selfish, and that all the people you're leaving behind to deal with the loss of you and the pain of no longer being here, and that's selfish. And then shortly after, they find him unalive, hung by a necktie. Uh, his wrists were cut, and if you remember, I know we'll move on. Um, just before they found him in his motel room, passed away by self-inflicted wounds, supposedly, which I don't buy the narrative. Um, in another country, they put on a rerun of Family Guy at the exact time where, after the episode had played, is when they found Robin Williams. Like exactly when they announced it. That episode was over. And the episode was where Peter had he was really loved Robin Williams. And so, long story short, he got these powers to anything he touched would turn into Robin Williams. Okay. So one of the things that I'm going to point out, and then we'll move forward, a couple things, is one of the things he touched was Brian, the dog. And the collar he always had on was black. His collar's always black. Every once in a while it changes here and there, but most of the time it's black collar. His collar was turned after Peter touched him, and his head turned into Robin Williams. His collar turned red. The tie they found Robin Williams hung by was a red tie. And then Peter started going insane because everything he was touching, it didn't matter what it was. It could have been inanimate objects, like a coffee pot or whatever, and it would turn into Robin Williams. And it was driving him insane. And so he chopped his hands off so he couldn't touch anything anymore. And then you got Robin Williams' wrist slit. Get what I'm saying? Like, that was clearly a blood sacrifice. So anyway, let's move on because we're already almost hit. We're over 20 minutes now, so.
Time is up. People are hip to this kind of stuff. I'm here tonight to blow the lid off it, to be the whistleblower. I'm sick and tired of the secrets and the lies. It is the secret symbol of the Illuminati, and you're a part of it, and it is the all-mocking tongue.
Oh. All right.
It's the symbol of the all-mocking tongue. And I'm sick of it. I want everybody to be in on the joke, man. You know what I mean? For years now.
But it's not a joke, and that's the thing. And I've seen it, especially when I was plumbing full time. Say I do job over at KMC, which is a hospital where I live. And you'd see doctors and nurses and stuff with the all-knowing eye tattooed on them, or the skull and the Freemason emblem on them as well. With the eye, with the all-knowing eye in it and stuff. So the ruler and compass, that's the word I was looking for. Because people think it's a joke. They don't realize the dangerous demonic stuff they're messing with. The Bible talks about it over and over and over about emblems and symbols and stuff like that that you know that have power, and some are demonic and some are not demonic. Some are of God, like the emblem of the cross. You know, the Bible says keep our eye on the cross of Christ, his God's son. So um, there's power in emblems and in wording and letters, and there's power in all that. And the Freemasons, the Illuminati, they definitely believe this, and they believe in the power in numbers, and so does God. As one of many examples, the number 666, that's the mark of the beast. So there's power in these things. Some are of God, some are not of God. But let's move on.
Talk show hosts, people on television, people in sitcoms have been hired by the government to throw you off the track, to distract you, to make you laugh and stuff like that, make you happy and docile so you don't know what's really going on. And they get out there in the woods in a circle naked and they decide these things. And
what he's talking about there is Bohemian Grove. If you know, you know. For the sake of time, but watch what happens. His so-called cell phone rings, and it's probably his real cell phone. Rings, so-called rings out of nowhere, and then he picks it up and talks like he's talking to somebody. And what he's trying to talk about and put out there as being true is sleeper soldiers. If you don't know what a sleeper soldier is, it's where they get hypnotized, is part of the MK Ultra thing. You get hypnotized. And Jesse Ventura proved this multiple times. Other people have proved it multiple times. When Jesse Ventura did conspiracy theory with Jesse Ventura, and you get hypnotized, and then you get a key word. They're called super soldiers. In other words, another thing that they're called. And what happens is you get a key word when you're under hypnotism, and say it's red rose. And when you hear that phrase under the hypnotism, when you're hypnotized, they tell you when you hear the phrase red rose, this is what you do. This is what you say. This is whatever. And then they'll give another keyword that say, like say, um, uh, Cool Ranch. When you hear the word Cool Ranch, you will go back to yourself. You will no longer be under hypnotism, being hypnotized, and you will remember nothing of that time frame from when you heard heard the phrase red rose to you heard Cool Ranch. You'll remember none of that. And so watch that's what he's doing here. Watch.
and look at him trying to cover that. It's hilarious. And I'm sick of, hold on a second. You know what they're trying to do? Who? This thing is buzzing. Hold on. They're trying to turn us into, consumer drones of some sort. Hold on, I just got to get this.
Which is, I know what he's referencing here. Most likely is the movie They Live. Go watch it if you haven't seen it. I've referenced it in my older videos as well. It was Roddy Piper, the wrestler. They couldn't have picked anybody better for that. And what it boiled down to, if you wore these glasses, these specific glasses, you would see the truth. Whether it be in writing or video or a person looking at a person, you would see their true identity. If it was these demons that were walking among us, that look like normal people to us without these glasses, but if Roddy Piper put these glasses on, he would see them for what they really were. And he would look at a sign and it would say obey. He would look at another sign, it would say consume. If he opened a magazine, it would say something. Um, uh, they would show what they really said, kind of like when you used to back when you were kids. If you're my age, and you would write down something with the magic marker and you couldn't see it, and then you would put a light over it, or you'd wear a pair of certain glasses that came with the kit, and you could see it. It was like a spy kit. Um, Something similar to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, I'm in the middle of blowing the lid off some.
What happened?
I'm sorry, Jimmy. I was temporarily interrupted by my iPhone 6 Plus.
That's a big one, huh?
5.5 heads-up HD display. I think what I was really trying to say was I think people will enjoy Dumb and Dumber this weekend.
And that is what I thought you were about to say.
Yeah, why you got to ask yourself why he's such a big comedian like he is, and he, well, one, never, um, up to a certain point, and as he's gotten older, did he ever make these kind of references and skits, quote unquote, anything like that? And now all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he is, and then all of a sudden, he's not in Hollywood anymore, as far as like making big movies and TV shows and stuff like that. When you would think, I mean, as big as an actor as he is, and people like him, they think he's funny, that he'd be cast right and left for movies, but he's not. So I mean, two and two don't make eight. It doesn't make any sense that all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's coming out talking about these things. He's coming out talking about Jesus and God and the Bible, and exposing these things on a very well-known talk show host, Jimmy Kimmel. I mean, and also on Jay Leno, when he was talking about the moon landing. And if you notice how they awkwardly laugh, and like Jimmy Kimmel said there, uh, oh, that's what I thought you were gonna say. You know, you didn't mean all the other stuff.
We should all go to the theater. They should all go to the theater tomorrow and see it.
They should.
Because we could use a good laugh. Ha 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 ha.
See, now if it was a joke, why would Jimmy Kimmel on one of the biggest watched talk shows, why would he be doing that back? I get why Jim Carrey's doing it, because he did it when he came in, and he's trying to tell the truth in a joking manner. But why would Jimmy Kimmel do it? You get what I'm saying? So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. If you can do anything to help us out financially, if you can't, you can't. I get it. Binomics and all that. We just got an $815 PG&E bill, and it was already over $8,000 as it was, not counting any other bills. If you can help, awesome, great. If not, like I said, I understand. Whether you can help or not financially, keep us in your prayers. Prayers help. All our help comes from above. We can't do anything without God and his son Jesus. Just, we can't. These Hollywood elites think they can, but they're being lied to. They get the, material things from the devil, and they've sold their soul. And a lot of them are coming out and talking about how they sold their soul, and how they, thought they got what they wanted. And then they realized that they got tired of it really fast, that that's not what they really wanted. That's another video in its entirety by itself. But look at all the actors we've just lost lately, and singers. and talk show hosts and news reporters that were speaking against the narrative, and they were uh, coming out and admitting the truth that they had sold their soul. And then, the devil come to collect, and so on and so on. And they're dying for no reason, absolutely no reason. They're making up these stories. Oh, he was on drugs. They off themselves. They had this problem. They had that problem. They had this. They had that. When nothing had ever been said about these issues before. Like I said, 2 and 2 don't make 8. It doesn't. The math doesn't add up. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get off here. Use all the links in the About Me section. Rate, comment, subscribe. Much love. God bless, and I'll see you on the next one.